Good morning to you, Steph. Good morning, everyone. Well, parents in the Toronto Catholic District School Board planning another protest this morning, all with the goal of putting pressure on the board to stop an impending teacher cut. A lot of cuts, I should say, that's supposed to happen in the coming weeks. Joining me now, we welcome back Faiza Amin reporting live for us. Good morning, Faiza.
Good morning, Mel. And parents are set to stage this protest here outside Regina Munday School in North York this morning. As you mentioned, the TCDSB has been talking about cuts to teachers, at least 25 schools in the board, as we've been hearing. And so parents have been protesting last week and again this week to call for a halt to this. They say that these larger classroom sizes pose a risk to the safety and well-being of their students. So we're expecting a group here outside the school this morning, and we've seen these similar protests happening. And also something else to keep an eye on today and this week, the province set to roll out rapid COVID-19 testing program for schools in the province, but primarily they're looking at areas with high transmission. Public health units, including in Peel region, are currently talking and working out the details on which schools will be selected. So Dr. Lawrence Lowe echoed Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore's sentiments, saying rapid testing can be an extra safety measure in place for students and staff. Take a listen.
We know that under certain circumstances, the deployment of rapid antigen tests might complement other precautions in schools, such as screening, masking, cohorting, and dismissals that are already in place. We are continuing discussions with the Chief Medical Officer of Health and other health units, and will continue to provide updates on local plans and criteria as we are able.
And back here in North York, this protest is set to start, Mal, at 8:30 this morning. We are standing by to speak with parents.
All right, we'll check in with Faiza again shortly. Thank you. To other news now, employees with the City of Toronto being asked to roll up their sleeves or face suspension. And those who do not show that proof of vaccination by November the 1st will be suspended without pay and could eventually be fired.
As the largest employer in Toronto, having a firm policy about the need to be vaccinated demonstrates the seriousness with which this issue revolves.
Right now, around 850 workers have not received their shot. 1,800 have not disclosed their status. The city will start with a 6-week unpaid suspension, but if staff do not show proof by December 13th, they will be fired under the grounds that they have chosen not to comply with the mandatory vaccine policy. Legal experts say employees who refuse but want to keep their jobs won't have many options.
Unless there is a valid human rights reason as to why you cannot be vaccinated, it would be very surprising to me if an employee who simply chooses not to adhere to a policy would have a legal leg to stand on.
The city says about 89% of staff are already fully vaccinated. It's also hosting vaccine clinics at 9 city workplace locations to encourage more people to get their shot. Anyone who faces suspension can provide proof of vaccination to return to work. All right, a lot to discuss here, including we will be finding out more on the province's safety plans when it comes to Thanksgiving and Halloween. Ontario's top doctor expected to release his full recommendations today after saying earlier this week that maskless indoor gatherings are okay for those who are fully vaccinated. So still ahead here on BT, we're going to have more on that, plus Vaxgiving. Yes, the city's latest push to increase vaccinations this long weekend. Mayor John Tory, he will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau laying out all the details of a new vaccine policy for federally regulated employees as well as domestic travelers. Federal public workers must be fully vaccinated by October 29th. This applies to those who work in a lot of departments like the RCMP, Corrections Services Canada, border services agencies, and more. Workers who refuse to get vaccinated or fail to disclose their vaccination status will be placed on administrative leave without pay as early as November 15th. Domestic travelers must also be fully immunized by October the 30th. Meantime, Trudeau in the headlines for not great reasons last week when he was caught taking a vacation with his family on National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Yesterday, he apologized for his actions. Have a listen.
Traveling on September 30th was a mistake, and I regret it. The first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation was a time for Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people alike to reflect and connect, think about the past, but also focus on the future. And I committed to going to visit the Tecumloops Te Secwepemc community in the coming weeks.
On Sunday, the Tecumloops First Nation in BC said Trudeau also privately apologized for not accepting invitations to visit the community on the holiday. Trudeau's official itinerary last Thursday said he would be in private meetings in Ottawa that day. Later, it was updated to say he was in Tofino. All right, we have more news coming your way. Coming up next, though, the price at the pumps still sky high, but there may be some good news in sight. Mike Apple with more coming up after the break.